Today, Vice President Kamala Harris will be meeting with Israeli opposition leader and wartime cabinet member Benny Gantz at the White House. The vice president issued the harshest comments from a senior Biden administration official on Sunday when she called for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. The talks come 2 days after the U.S. military airdropped its first wave of vital humanitarian aid into Gaza. Let's bring in CBS News chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes. Nancy, this is a meeting that Prime Minister Netanyahu does not want to happen. What is the vice president hoping to achieve with it? What are the talks around there?
That's right. It's going to be such an interesting meeting to watch, Liliana, for that reason, because, you've got the vice president basically rolling out the red carpet. You've got the national security advisor, Jake Sullivan, meeting with Benny Gantz as well. And this is a meeting, as you pointed out, Lilia, that the prime minister did not want Gantz to have. Gantz is a member of the war cabinet, but he's part of this unity party that was formed in the wake of the Hamas invasion on October 7th. And so he's not in Netanyahu's party. He's more of a centrist, and that centrist party has been gaining in popularity. And Netanyahu reportedly told him, don't go. We have one prime minister at a time. I don't want you going to the White House, because Gantz has a bit of a different view when it comes to communicating with the leaders in Gaza than Netanyahu did. But really, Gantz just informed him, I'm going, and has made his way here to Washington, where he will sit down with the vice president in a few hours. We're told that the vice president wants to talk to him about limiting Gaza casualties, if at all possible, and also how to get more humanitarian aid into Gaza. And she'll also express her concern about the 1.5 million people who are trapped essentially in Rafah, who could be in harm's way if the Israelis do mount a full-scale ground invasion to try to eliminate the remnants of Hamas.
And Nancy, just realistically speaking, how much impact can this visit have on a potential ceasefire, on stopping Israel's aggressive push into Rafah?
Right. Well, it could have an impact on domestic politics within Israel, right? You've got Gantz's party has been ascendant. He's the one sitting down with a White House that has become increasingly critical of the Israeli government. You saw that on full display just this weekend from the vice president herself. And so if he appears to be more in line with the White House than the prime minister of Israel is, then that could put Netanyahu in a difficult position domestically. And so that's why that's part of the reason he didn't want Gantz to go. And that's part of the reason we'll be watching this meeting so closely.
Nancy Cordes, thank you so much.
You're welcome, Lilia.
And now to follow up on exactly the point Nancy was making, I want to bring in CBS News foreign correspondent Imtiaz Tyab. He is in Tel Aviv. So, Imtiaz, how are people in Israel and how are Palestinians in Gaza receiving the vice president's call for immediate ceasefire and also this visit from Benny Gantz to the White House?
Well, Lilia, I'll start with Gaza. The people in Gaza, of course, desperate for a ceasefire, an immediate ceasefire. They want the fighting to stop now. In fact, we've been hearing from the mother of twin infants who lost 20 members of her family in an Israeli airstrike this past weekend, including her husband and 2 infant children. And to give you a bit of background on her story, for 10 years she suffered from infertility, had 3 rounds of fertility treatment before she gave birth to her twins, a boy and a girl, 6 months ago. They were born just weeks before the October 7th attacks, and they are now dead. And she said to the world, "What are you doing? Are you just there watching us die?" Another mother whose 10-year-old son, Yazin, who suffered from special needs, was starving because she couldn't find the food that he needed. And the food that he needed were soft foods, things like bananas and eggs, which are impossible to find in Gaza. We learned today that he starved to death and died. We saw images of his father burying him with his own hands, only a piece of cardboard marking his grave. We've also spoken to the families of Israeli hostages who are marching this weekend. We marched alongside them, and I spoke to the cousin of one of the women being held inside Gaza, a woman by the name of Carmel, and her cousin said all she wants is a ceasefire now. And so the fact that Vice President Kamala Harris has called for a ceasefire in the terms that she has is welcomed by people inside Gaza and indeed people here in Israel. Many are also saying it's too little, too late, given the destruction in Gaza, the fact 30,000 people have been killed and hostages are still being held. Lilia.
Imtiaz Tyab, thank you for your crucial reporting and for reminding us of what those human stories are there on the ground. Thank you.